Dear students, once Ernest Hemingway said, the first panacea for a mismanaged nation is inflation. The second is war. Both bring temporary prosperity, both bring permanent ruin. But both are the refuge of political and economic opportunists. Welcome to the science of economics. As economics is a social science, like chemistry and physical science. It is true that there are no test tubes and sophisticated equipments required to study the subject, economics. I do not know whether you accept it or not, but economics is fun. But it can also be hard to learn. If you are actively involved in classroom discussions, then prepare notes, definitely you will be able to score good marks in the subject. So here I just wish to give few tips to enjoy the subject, and most of the time we do not know how to crack the subject and how to score good marks in economics. So here I wish to give some tips to enjoy the subject and score good marks. So the first and foremost thing is attend classes regularly. Research has shown that attendance record is one of the biggest facts which influence the academic success. Students do better when they attend classes regularly. So do not forget to attend any classes. The next important thing is summarize, don't highlight. When teachers share the PowerPoint presentations, or sometimes they share the case studies to you, or PDF textbook, whatever it is. Sometimes you read your economics text. Read for understanding. Start by spending 10-15 minutes reading in any outline or summary provided for the assigned chapter. Then what you can do? Try to identify and remember the main points of the chapter. So when you read and when you identify the main points, next read the introduction. So whenever you read introduction, whenever we read the chapter, what we do, we take a pencil or maybe a pen and we just try to underline. Okay, do not do that. It is too passive activity to keep your mind engaged. Instead, when you come to the end of the section, while you read and particular theory or that particular concept, so end of the section, take a minute to summarize. How can you summarize? Summarize what you just learned in your own words, because economics subject has its own language and it is difficult to understand. So try to summarize the content in your own language. That is very important, because at the time of during your examination holidays, study holidays, or later whenever you take and whenever to learn that particular concept, it is easy to understand. So if you prepare it in your own language, that is very important. Next thing is, try to participate in classroom discussion, class activity, discussion, quizzes, case studies, class interactions, etc. Because here you get an opportunity to test yourself. If you rely on learning on your own, most of the time we do by doing the reading assignment outside of class, for example, definitely you will miss out on class discussion with the classmates. What is the problem? Your classmate will often have the same questions as you. So going to class and interact with your students or actively participate in this classroom discussions definitely help you to learn from your classmates, and teacher also will help you to understand the topic in a proper way. So another important tip to learn this subject and to enjoy the subject, or how to effectively understand or to engage in classroom discussion or to learn the subject. Another important factor is communicate with your professors when you are struggling. Especially at the college or the higher studies, colleges and the universities, the professor won't know when you are struggling. So if you are having problem with the coursework or the test, sometimes the quizzes or the when you read that case studies, we do not understand few concepts like opportunity cost or the game theory or whatever it is. Schedule an appointment to meet the professor and get the help you need. That is very important. Do not forget about that. Next important tip is go online. Do not think that the classroom discussions are enough to learn economics. To get additional examples, applications, and problems, you can use websites, online resources which help you to understand the concept in a different way. The next important tip to learn the subject is teach someone. As we all know, there is no better way to learn something than to teach it to someone else. So take an opportunity to teach new economic concepts to your classmate or a friend or your parents. Okay, parents also maybe try interested to learn or to know about that maybe WTO or maybe inflation, exchange rate and all the things. So try to teach them. That's the best way to learn economics. Another important thing is don't skip the real world examples. In the midst of all the numbers, graphs and strange new words, it is easy to lose sight of what economics is all about. So try to learn it from practical example. That is very important. The another important feature or another important tip to learn economics is apply economic thinking to your daily life. Classroom discussions and lectures will help you to know about how others apply economics to the real world. Then try it yourself. Try to use economic analysis to better understand your own decision, the economy around you, and the events you read about in the newspaper. The world, you always understand one thing, the world may never look at the same again. So try to read newspapers, try to watch news and to relate that economics into your practical application of all the concepts which you learn in the classroom. So these are the tips which you should remember while you start your classes. But how can I wind up the session without mentioning one article that I read from Mankiw's Principles of Microeconomics. This very interesting article. This article written by Robert T. Michter Jr., an American economist. Maybe you have heard about and maybe you read this article, I do not know. So one day he had lunch with the smartest woman, maybe you have heard about this name also, Marilyn someone, New York Magazine columnist. She is known as the person with the highest IQ in the world. So one day he met Marilyn Savant. She is interested in economics education. They met at board meeting of the National Council on Economic Education. So that time in a casual discussion, he told her that I think economics is a good major for smart students, Marilyn. But if they are really smart, I would rather they become doctors so they could do some good thing. Okay, doctors, we all usually, we know that doctors help the society and the people. So here, if they are really smart, I would rather they become doctors so they could do somebody some good. But the reply was so, he never expected the kind of reply from Marilyn. You know how she replied? She replied, yes, but doctors help people one at a time, while Alan Greenspan can help millions of people at a time. She has a point. Alan Greenspan is an American economist who served as chair of the Federal Reserve of the United States from 1987 to 2006. So Greenspan is an excellent example of someone making big difference by applying good economics. So what is the point here? In our daily lives, we are called to make choices. Many times it's very difficult to take decisions. Okay, see, isn't it? So here, choices at our home and sometimes in the marketplace, we do not know how to take better decision. How much to spend and save? It's a question most of the time we ask. How to allocate our savings between different kinds of financial assets? Sometimes we do not know. The same way, every day we ask the kind of question that whether to take a regular cab or an Uber and so on. So we do not know how to take decisions. So we cannot answer such questions without having a proper understanding of economics. It is a basic civic literacy requirement. So economic, that is a relevance of economics actually. So you should not ask that question, why do we learn economics? Okay, what's the purpose to learn economics? It teaches us how to make choices, how to interact in society, how to evaluate the work being done by our prime ministers, chief ministers, and much more. So let us start to think about this and ask few questions. Try to find out the answers. Like, for example, do you think outsourcing is good for India? Get ready to score good marks and effective use. The same way you can also ask question, try to find out the answers. I'm just giving one question, just to throw one question to you. Question to like, do you think outsourcing is good for India? Get ready to score good marks and effective use of your learning sessions. But do not forget about 4 classroom behaviors. What are the 4 classroom behaviors to learn economics in a better way? One is listening. Listen class properly. Attend class and listen your teacher's lectures. Asking questions. And the third one is whenever teacher asks question, respond to that question is also very important. Whether it's right or wrong, respond to that question. Fourth one is taking notes. Get ready to score good marks and effective use of your learning sessions. All the very best.